Hello, my friends. Welcome to another day of Createful Christmas. This is where we celebrate by creating tons of Christmas decor and cards and fun things that we can give as gifts. Today, I would love to show you how to paint this really cute mistletoe card. It's very simple and relaxing to paint, and it's a great gift to give your partner to tell them that you love them and their kisses. And if you're enjoying my videos, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you don't miss out on any more of these fun tutorials. And if you want to, there are tons of Createful Christmas projects that you can enjoy. And you can sign up to become a Createful Art member to get access to all of them and the reference photos, full tutorials. My membership is a great place to learn how to make art and to have fun relaxing while you're doing it. And another bonus is that all of these make great gifts for Christmas. Members make this event possible, so I want to give them a big thank you. And next year we're going to do this event again, so let me know in the comments what you would like to learn how to paint next year. It's always so nice to unwind as we paint, so let's begin. You only need a few supplies for this. I'm using acrylic paint pens, but you can use fine tip markers if that's what you have, or a watercolor pencil. And then you want to have some watercolor paper to paint on. You can also get pre-cut watercolor cards, and then you'll want just a couple paint brushes, a small round and a detail brush, your acrylic paints, and links to the specific supplies that I'm using are in the description. So I'm going to start with my bright red and my flat 1/2 inch brush, and notice how I twist my brush like this to go towards the center to make a bow. So I'm working at the top of my card in the center, and I'm creating a bow by making the flat right here and then twisting as I come towards the center, and then it comes to a point. And that makes the shape of the bow, and I do that on both sides, and you can twist your paper around to get a better angle if you need to. And you can also use my reference photo to help you paint along. So let's finish the bow. Here you have the knot in the middle, and starting at that knot, you're just creating a line with the edge of your brush going to the right side. Notice how it's a little thicker on the end, and I did that by just dragging the brush a little bit to create a thicker line. And watch how I do it with this side now. And I can always thicken that by dragging just a little bit more paint on the end over and then coming to the point in the middle. Your bow doesn't have to look exactly like mine. So with your detail brush, just come in here with some black and put some of that black on the side of the knot in the center. The lines on the side of the knot of the bow will just add to the realistic look of the bow. And then we create a line going from the knot to the right side, the lower right side of the bow, and a little bit of dark on the top of the left side of the bow, a little bit of black underneath, and then we have added some shadow and detail to our bow. For the highlights, I'm going to add a little bit of white to the red and just add a little dot in the middle of the bow where the knot is, and a line on both the right side and the left side in the middle of the loops. And those lines always go towards the knot. You can add more than one if you wish. And the ribbon below, I'm going to add just a little bit of the light color on the sides, on the top side of this right side, and then a little bit on the left side. Now this is where I get out my acrylic paint markers. You can use colored pencils or just regular markers if you don't have these. And then you just draw stems coming out of the top. So it's kind of like a fan coming out. Start at the center at the top of the knot, and always start there, and then just keep making these lines that come up and out. And you can make as many lines as you want. You can make them as thick as you want. So I'm going over my lines right now to thicken them. And you can make them as long as you want. Although I like to leave room at the top of my card so that there's a nice space there. And you can also add inconsistency to your stems. So look at, I just made this stem kind of run into another stem. And then you want to do the same down here. As you want to start from the knot and then fan out and make them a little bit longer And notice I don't make them perfect or anything like that. And I'm going to fan them out just a little bit wider and create more of them. I can always add more if I need to later on. I can also count the ones on top to see if I have the same amount on the bottom. Now I'm going to show you how to paint the leaves. I'm going to flip my card over, and I have my size 8 round brush in my hand. Members have the color mixing handout and the reference photo to help them out with their color mixing. But basically, to make a green, all you need to do is add yellow to your blue. That will make a bright green. And then you can use your red to dull the color just a little bit. And if you want to make the color darker or lighter, you can use your black and your white. So I've created a darker green. Now I'm going to create a lighter green. Just mix it in with that darker green just a little bit, but have it a softer green color. Your colors don't have to match mine exactly, but if you want some color mixing help and you want to match the colors, then you can get the color mixing handout to help you. Having a variety of greens will give this painting more dimension and help it to be a little bit more on the realistic side. You can use any of the green colors that you have on your palette, and what you do is you just create basically a blob, a long blob. So I use the point of my brush when I want it to be a smaller point area, and then I push down on my brush when I want it to be bigger. And I have an imaginary line that I'm going towards as I move down, creating some different leaves as I come down. It's fun to skip areas and to add in some different shapes of leaves. So you can make some small ones, some big blob ones. The point is to be loose and playful. You can go back and grab some different colors. You can come back here and make your leaves longer, more pointed, bigger if you'd like, or keep your leaves smaller because there are so many different looks to the mistletoe plant. I'm going to take a moment to extend my lines here just a little bit so that my stems will reach my leaves. And an important part of this is that I have left about the same amount of room on all the sides of my card. So you can see where my leaves are. There's just about a 3/4 of an inch, and the bottom there's 3/4 of an inch. And on the sides of my card, I'm still going to leave some gaps, about the same amount, so that my mistletoe is centered. Now, about the leaves, honestly, this is just very, very playful. You can see the brush strokes that I'm creating, but you don't have to create the same brush strokes as mine. And notice how I go back and I get some light colors. I'm going to use dark colors. Just having a variety of light versus dark in the leaves is all you need to do. And a lot of this is just irregular shapes. And when you see leaves, they are irregular in shape. They're not perfect, especially when you see mistletoe in nature. Now, if you went to a store and got the fake mistletoe, it might look a little bit different than this, but I'm not trying to make it look the same as that. And if you enjoy the placement of my leaves, then you can just follow along, and you also can use the reference photo to help you when you're a Createful Art member. So for every stem that I have, I'm going to have a whole bunch of leaves leading up to that stem. So I'll keep adding different colors to my brush and making the leaves come towards the stem. Notice the bunch of leaves for each stem. The first leaf at the very tip is more positioned in the center, and then the other leaves go from the right to the center and the left to the center. You can also make some of the leaves overlap the line like I did here in this leaf. And you can twist your card around to get in a better position to help you so that you can make your leaves. This is such a great time to practice your leaf making, using the tip of your brush to make a skinny point, and then pushing down and using your wrist to move to make the curvatures of the leaf, or to keep it still and straight to make it so it's not curved, and then keeping it pushed down when you want the thicker areas and lifting up to make it thinner. And don't worry about overlapping your leaves. You want to have some overlap of the leaves, but if you want them to stand out against each other, you're going to have to go back for a different color. So you either want to have a darker color or a more green color or a lighter color when you're overlapping your leaves. Otherwise, it'll just blend in to the leaf next to it. And I decided to use a little bit more of a brown color on some of my leaves by adding just a little bit more of the yellow. And I also decided to add a little bit more of this white to the leaves to get like this soft look. And the more that you overlap your leaves, the more full it will look. And I like the look of the fuller mistletoe. But of course, that's just a personal preference and you may like something different, so follow what you like. Which always leads to the final step, which is following your personal preferences to add in the final details. The more details that you add, the more realistic it will look. So you can add in more details by adding in blemishes. You could add in more shadows versus lights, more overlapping of shapes, and differences in colors. Or you could have a more impressionistic look, which is the more loose brush strokes and less details, more playfulness. You could add even splatters or texture or metallic colors, anything that will make it so that it doesn't actually look realistic, but it's more playful and fun. I like to have a little bit of both in my paintings, so I will add in some more details such as some shadow on my bow here on the very edge. I'll add in some berries as one of the details that I want to add, and I'm just going to create some circles on here with a cream color that I've created with my yellow and my white. And I use the end of my round brush and I go in a circular motion to make a circle. And I'm going to overlap some of my shapes. So I'm going over the stem here. I'm going to go over some of my leaves. I'm going to also go in between and just in some of the white space. So I'm adding this. I added just a tint of green to it because I couldn't see the cream color very well. And I'll also make sure that I add in some clumps. So some berries will be closer than others. I don't want them to be equal distance apart. And this is just a personal preference. You don't have to add the berries. If you're going to, just be creative with it. You don't have to place them in the exact same spots as I do for your card to turn out great. Another final touch that I made is I added just a few of these small leaves right here at the top next to the bow. I like it because it made it look more full, and I like to make them different in shape and in their position. And with my detail brush, I add a point to some of the ends of my leaves. And with the same color I used for my stems, I'm going to go around some of these circles to make them stand out a little bit more. Some of the berries I'll outline all the way around, and some of them I'll just add a little bit of an outline on a side or a couple areas. And if you like this look, go ahead and do that to yours. If not, this is just a personal preference and you don't need to add this to your painting. Now with a lighter color, I'm just going to add a little bit of highlight on some of my berries. And I want to soften some of the outline, so I'll outline some of my berries as well to get rid of the harshness of that line. That's just a personal preference too, so just play around with yours until you are happy with it. Thank you so much for watching and painting with me today. I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it. Hit that like button and share this video with your friends and family so I can continue to make more videos like this. And if you want to sign up for weekly art lessons, go ahead and check out my membership program where you also get the full tutorials and you get the reference photos to help you paint along. I'm so excited for this next year, 2022. We're going to be traveling all over the world, creating art that is inspired by the places that we go. I want to know where you want to travel. Let me know in the comments. My members are going to be choosing from those destinations that you share. So if you want to vote, go ahead and become a member. And stay tuned to see where we go first. I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Here are some more tutorials you can enjoy, and I'll see you in my next video.